If you're like most Americans, you're probably worried that you're going to see your taxes increase in the near future. You've heard all the stories about government bailouts, runaway spending, and everything from a value-added tax to a tax on the internet. But here's the terrifying reality. Even if Congress doesn't pass one new piece of legislation, your share of the national debt, and that of everyone you know, is currently more than $42,000. And if you add in the projected shortfalls for programs like Social Security and Medicare, that number is over $200,000. How could that be possible? Simply put, the federal government is in the hole, currently more than $13 trillion in the hole. How did we get there? Congress's continued insistence on spending money we don't have. Common sense and the examples of countries like Greece and states like California tell us that our nation's current fiscal path is unsustainable. But as we get closer and closer to the cliff, the folks in Washington aren't slowing down. Instead, they're stepping on the gas. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office projects that the national debt will exceed $20 trillion by the year 2020. America can't ignore the laws of economic gravity forever, and history shows us where this road leads. There are only three paths that Washington can take to address this growing crisis. First, the federal government could choose to print more money, leading to runaway inflation and a weak dollar. But that path relies on punishing hardworking Americans who have saved their money and who will see its value steadily erode in their bank accounts. So too will the value of every dollar you earn and the value of everything you own. Second, Washington is going to push the nation to accept widespread tax increases. But it's a basic principle of economics that when you tax something, you get less of it. If we saddle our already struggling economy with higher taxes, we'll get less productivity, less innovation, and fewer jobs at a time when we desperately need all three. There is a third option, one that's in keeping with traditional American values of thrift, self-discipline, and restraint. We here at the Center for Individual Freedom call it the 60% solution, a constitutional amendment that requires a federal balanced budget and mandates a vote of 60% of both houses of Congress in order to raise the federal debt ceiling or increase taxes. The 60% solution would force the politicians in Washington to face the same responsibilities that millions of American families deal with every day. Responsibilities to tighten their belts and live within their means. It's time to cut up Congress's credit cards, to hold Congress accountable for reckless spending and the taxation that will accompany it. Let them know that we're no longer going to let them spend us into the poorhouse. It'll take a grassroots uprising from millions of determined Americans to make the 60% solution a reality. That's why we're asking you to join this growing movement by visiting 60percentsolution.org and signing our petition today. And once you're done, urge your friends and family members to do the same. Together, we can stop the Washington spending spree and ensure a stronger, freer, more prosperous America.